All right. Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Views back at you this evening with a special live examination. I'm joined by Mr. Ian Ferguson, and
Burker.
Furkeron. Furkeron. Yeah. And Mr. Michael Cormorant, the Stout King in Brooklyn. Welcome in, guys, and welcome to this
Hello,
live
John,
examination.
as always.
We've already got Jeremy in the chat. This is real Jeremy, so buckle up. We're about to have some heavy hitting, high alcohol beers here. Cheers to you, Tanner.
Josh. That's not Josh. That's Tanner.
Tanner, yeah. So we got a few people in the chat already. So what we're looking at tonight is any beer, 14% or higher, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Yeah, Jeremy. Sorry, messed up both guests' last names. So yeah. All right.
He's funny.
Okay. So I'll start with you, Ian, since you are directly to my right here. What are you bringing to the table tonight?
So I have Avery Brewing Company from Boulder, Colorado. Pumpkin, which is porter brewed in pumpkin and spices, aged in bourbon barrels, bottled in August 2016, 18.8% alcohol by volume. On the side, it says, "What's in a name? Sometimes the simplest can be the most descriptive, and in this case, derisive and divisive. After much internal debate, ad nauseum bourbon anyone, we decided a single letter change was the best way to embody the bourbon barrel aging that adds layers of complexity to an already exquisitely spiced pumpkin porter, brewed with Rocky Mountain water, malted barley, flaked oats, pumpkin, nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice, cloves, hops, and yeast."
Interesting. I didn't catch it when you mentioned it earlier. It's not even it's a porter, huh?
Porter.
Not even a stout. All right.
When I originally poured it, it actually did pour, even though it's from 2016, it's been sitting in my basement for over 8 years. It poured with a pretty decent head that's now obviously gone away.
It's one of the fast decliners, as they say, and we've seen them a lot of times.
Well, I poured this about a half an hour ago.
Okay, so it's not necessarily fast, but it does go down to that same size.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Nose wise, it's I can smell the spice, smell the spices. I'm not sensing any like a strong alcohol smell, so that's good. Here goes nothing.
Cheers, Ian.
All right, cheers. Ian's just getting right into it. I like it.
Oh.
Ian's formulating what he's going to say. He seems to have a positive response, though, which is good.
It's got a little bit of a bite to it little bit of a bite to it as it goes down, but definitely not bad. All the flavors are pretty. I mean, they're there, but nothing's overpowering. So I would say it's like if you're not a fan of heavily spiced pumpkin spice beer or pumpkin style beers, then you would like this. You might like this one. Granted, I think when I bought this, it was the only bottle they had. So I think I got this from the place in Pennington a long time ago. Yeah, definitely good.
But the alcohol's not blowing you away. In other words,
no,
the 18% is not in your face.
No, definitely not. It's. I mean, some of that might be the aging because it's been aging for over 8 years. So, but for the most part, yeah, it's not a super like knock you out 18%. So, but yeah, the spices are there. Not overly hoppy or. Damn. Yeah, this is definitely good.
Now, I guess my question is, they're calling it a porter and not a stout, which to me seems weird, even though we know what the relationship is. All stouts are porters, is what it is. Not all porters are stouts. So I guess their theory might be, is it the way it's drinking like that it's not heavy like some stouts maybe? And that's why they chose to call it a porter?
Could be. Yeah. It's definitely on the little bit of the lighter side.
Which is really
Which is amazing for 18.8.
That's something that's almost 19% can be on the lighter side. I mean, how does that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah. But, I mean, like it doesn't have a heavy mouthfeel. If you know what I mean. Like some stouts can like when I had the Bourbon County last night, that kind of has a fairly heavy mouthfeel. Like it's in your mouth. This is has a lighter feel.
It's not syrupy like the
No,
stouts.
definitely. Exactly. Yeah.
And for all I know, mine's going to be syrupy. So we'll see what happens when I start mine.
Right.
Yeah, definitely not sweet. Not sweet at all. So, because I've had some pumpkin porters and pumpkin stouts that have been like kind of a little bit on the sweet side, where the spices are kind of in your face and almost sweet. Almost tastes sweet, whereas this is all nice and subtle and even. So
Nice.
Very good.
All right, we'll let you
There's
keep
an
sipping on that.
There's an 8-year beer that's having positive effect. I'm impressed.
Yeah, that is impressive.
I'm definitely impressed.
Just the fact that you have a 2016 beer handy, and Avery, I mean, it's a great brewery. I haven't seen any of their stuff since I moved up to Massachusetts, but I used to buy their beer often in Georgia, although couldn't get that beer down there because 14% is the limit down in Georgia. But really quick, Michael, I don't know if you saw this comment. Gabe's getting, with his comments here. This show is called Three Bold Guys Drink Beer and Talk About It. I like it. I like your style, Gabe.
Gabe is our kind of rooter. He's our kind of fan.
And then Jeremy says, I thought stout just way higher ABV porter. So yeah, it's interesting because typically stouts are higher ABV, but you get into the barrel aging and stuff like that, and you have porters that are 18.8%. It's more body related, like stouts are just typically more heavy bodied beers, which is why all stouts are porters, but not all porters are stouts, because not all porters have the body that a stout has. They're a lot lighter in some cases.
I mean, could you imagine Bourbon County brewing a porter? Now they could, and it would just have to be a whole different style if they did. They're not going to bother because they're the premier stout, so they're not going to waste their time taking a chance on something like that. But they would have to brew the body much differently on it, because all Bourbon Counties are all syrupy in their presentation.
Yeah.
To different degrees. Like maybe some of the adjunct ones may be less syrupy than the original, or maybe vice versa.
That's one of the reasons that I like Bourbon County so much, is because I find it to be a lot less syrupy and thick and, sweet than a lot of the other stouts that I've had that are of that high ABV.
John, I made an error you're going to have to fix.
Okay.
Bump my beer up to 15.5. I misread it. Can you
even better?
15.
I got you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull you up. So Ian can't have all the fun here since he went through everything on the first go round. All right, there you go. I'm gonna pull you up, and you.
Okay, you can put me on the big screen. I am on the big screen. Okay. So this is from Evil Twin and Jay Wakefield. It's a collaboration called Miami's Finest. I have no idea who this character is.
Don't know who the guy is.
I don't know who he is,
but
he looks like an interesting beer character to me. I mean, I like his look for sure.
He's got a nice beard going there. The very impetus of that beard.
This is a pastry stout at 15.5% alcohol. So I'm going to pour it up. Sounded good opening it. Let's see what we got here. I can show you a little bit of. I think it's just easier if I pour it. We're doing it the straight in method, so there's going to be a lot of head at the beginning.
You having 2 beers?
One.
Oh, that's your coffee.
That's my coffee.
Why are you yelling?
Okay.
Tell Audrey said.
Audrey, do you want to say hello to them before you go?
I knew you were gonna say that to me.
Well, you know both of them.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Audrey.
Enjoy.
Okay. Anyway, back to the beer. Do we like our 3-finger head?
That is an insane amount of head for a 15.5% alcohol.
Now, like Ian's did, and this is not as old, this one's going to decline too, I can already see, but it's bubbling right now and looks like it's holding pretty well, everything considered. Would you call this tan?
Yeah, like a dark tan,
Dark-
not
it's a
quite
dark-
beige, but yeah,
dark tan.
head.
And the color is our typical, what you'd imagine to be black, but it's not. It's dark brown, because I can tell right away it's not completely opaque in look. So it's a very dark brown kind of look. Already the top of the head is starting to go down, but the head is this kind of really nice, how would we describe it? I don't know if you can even see it from this angle, but it's got a lot of nice bubbles in the head, and the way it's set up, you can tell that it's well brewed, as they say. Let's get a nose on it. Wow. Okay, the first thing I am getting is the roast, which I assume is either the coffee or the roasted malts that are brewed with this one. Let's see what else it is. Some sweetness, but the sweetness is very mild. But it's a pastry stout, so I guess I'm supposed to get some sweetness in the smell.
I'm surprised you got as much coffee.
I can't differentiate the vanilla or the coconut in the smell. So I'm mainly getting roasted malt in the smell. There's something else there, but I can't separate it out yet. And this was in the refrigerator until 5 minutes before I came up. So this is still cold, which is how I usually start out with my stouts. And then on these longer examinations, by the time we finish, usually get all the tastes that come out. Let's see. Let me keep smelling.
Right.
Something else. I'm getting something weird. I'm getting a mocha. What do you think that could be from? There's no chocolate in this, but I'm getting kind of like a mocha type smell. It may not, it could be the combination of the 3 spices together, the coconut, the vanilla, and the coffee.
Yeah, because isn't mocha like kind of like a chocolate coffee type drink, like a mocha latte?
Right. So maybe it's the combination with the 3 different things.
The coffee with the vanilla.
As Ian was having trouble waiting, I'm having trouble waiting too. So
Cheers.
I'm going in.
Go for it.
It's different than I expected. It's, you know what it is? And I'll tell you how good it is. It's almost like what they've done is they've been able to combine everything together and be balanced, where you get all the things together in the taste. So I'm getting, take another sip.
Is the coffee balanced with the other flavor? It's not too strong with the coffee?
I'm getting, the coffee isn't the lead taste now. It's weird. You're getting where I can taste the coconut now. The coconut's coming through and some of the vanilla. And the coffee is like interbalanced with it. Like you said, John, in the beginning, to balance out the sweetness with, I guess, the roast of the coffee. So it's not sweet. And you can't taste the alcohol at all.
Wow, that's crazy. 15.5%.
I mean, you could all right, if I were to taste this, I could tell you that it has to have alcohol in it. I'm not saying you can't taste it all. What I'm trying to say is this could be 9% or 8%.
Is
instead of
it
15.5.
warming when you swallow it down? Do you get a warming effect at all? Or
no, none. It just goes down like it's liquid.
That's dangerous.
If you're not careful with something like this and you say to yourself, boy, that really is good, you could be laying on the side fairly quickly because it would go right to your head, and that's it. No, what I'm trying to say is you can tell it's a big beer. It's not like I'm going to say here and, oh, this tastes like a session. It doesn't taste like a session, but it doesn't taste like 15.5.
Right.
This is much lighter than the typical Bourbon counties are. And I think it's also because it's like Ian's. It's a stout, but it's like Ian's in that it's more medium than it's heavy in its mouthfeel. So I would say this is a medium mouthfeel.
Yeah,
in this one.
I'll tell you
It's
one
not
thing
heavy.
that's impressive. That head, that's got the head of like a 6% beer, not a 15. I can't believe that head is sticking around like that.
But
Look
you
at the
do still
glass
see it.
facing on
And
it.
I'm gonna this is a pint, so I'm gonna pour the rest.
You
and
never
I'll pour
get
it-
that kind of
I'll-
head
I'll-
and glass lacing on a beer
I'll
of
pour it
that.
straight in, and
And
it's
alcohol.
funny. It even produced some more head, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
You know, when I did it first, it was already down to here, and you're getting, like you say, nice lacing on the side, and this is a wonderful beer. I mean, this is top level kind of stuff. I will keep sipping on it,
All right.
but I will sip slowly.
Okay. Well, gosh, that was a tough wait, but it's finally arrived. I get to drink my beer now. Okay. So it's probably a good thing we went through going through it like we did, and otherwise we'd have a whole nother round before we got into these beers. So I have the let me pull it up here, the 2024 Bourbon County. This is the Macaroon Stout variant, clocking in at 14.6% alcohol. Of course, it's bourbon barrel aged, and this one has coconut, ginger, cacao nibs, and natural flavor. So I think that's a really interesting combo, the coconut and ginger. I don't think I've ever had a Bourbon County with ginger in it before. So that's a very interesting, unique ingredient to put in a stout. So I did pour it up already, and it did have a little bit of a head, but it is completely died down now. When I drink it down a little bit, if I swirl it around, we'll see if I can get a little bit of head regeneration. But I mean, it smells a lot different initially than your typical Bourbon County, because I think it's the ginger that I'm getting. It's got like a spicy type note on the aroma. And I'm picking up on the coconut too, which I'm a huge coconut person. I love a coconut stout. I'm definitely smelling the coconut. It's almost like the combination of the ginger and the coconut. It's like a spiced coconut stout. Of course, you get some dark chocolate, probably from the roast and the addition of the cacao nibs. And then in the background, you get some of those classic Bourbon County aromas. You get some dark fruit, some fig, some date, maybe even a little bit of like a black cherry note with this one.
Does it smell boozy?
No, it smells sweet. It doesn't smell boozy. It smells like the coconut is really kind of coming through the more I sniff the beer. And then the spice notes from the ginger, I think. And then dark fruit. So yeah, mostly sweet on the aroma. It doesn't smell boozy. It smells really good. So yeah, let's get into it here. Cheers.
Yes, John. Enjoy it.
That is interesting. So coconut is actually the lead flavor on that first sip. And then I get a significant spice kind of as I swallow it down. If you've ever eaten ginger, just like raw ginger, like thinly shaved ginger, like, it's got a nice, very distinct kick to it as you swallow it down. I'm getting that on the finish. So the ginger is definitely playing a part in this beer. Not so much flavor wise, but like the burnt, like just the spice note, like that feeling that you get when you eat ginger. Not necessarily like it tastes like ginger. I mean, it's not like a ginger ale or a ginger beer or anything like that. It's just mostly the effect that you get from eating ginger. The coconut is definitely the lead aroma and flavor. And then you get some of the cacao nibs, the dark chocolate notes from the roasted malt, some of the dark fruit comes through in the middle of the sip. I wasn't detecting this on the nose, but that last sip kind of get a little bit of the tobacco that you get with a lot of the Bourbon County. which I really like. It's just that sweet tobacco component is really a nice nice flavor to have. It's a nice aroma to have too, but I didn't detect it on the nose, but I definitely pick it up a little bit on the flavor. And I think that's a lot, like the dark fruit and tobacco kind of go hand in hand. It's a little bit lighter as far as like the bourbon presence on the finish, and I think it's just all the additives with this one and the ginger, that burn that you get from the ginger. I mean, it could be from the alcohol, I guess, but I mean 14.6, 14.7, it's standard for Bourbon County, and I don't feel like it's I don't feel like it's a boozy burn. I feel like it's a spice burn on the back end. But yeah, really enjoyable beer. This is one of the more interesting variants that I've had. I just think the ginger coconut combo is really just different from any of the other Bourbon County variants that I've had over the years, and it's definitely unique. Some people are probably going to hate on this one a lot because the ginger is either one of those like you love it or you hate it type of thing. But I'll keep sipping on it and come back around. But yeah, it's definitely got the basics that you want with a Bourbon County. A lot of really good flavor, dark fruit, bourbon barrel. The cherry is a little bit different. I don't usually get the black cherry notes, but that's there. But yeah, coconut. That you put coconut on a label, I expect coconut. And I've been disappointed with a lot of beers, a lot of coconut stouts in the past, where I'm expecting a lot of coconut flavor, and there's hardly any in there. This one definitely delivers on the coconut and the bourbon barrel, and the other stuff it's all there. So it's definitely enjoyable, and we've got a guest here.
John, is the alcohol masked as far as the 14.6?
It is. It's very well masked, like all Bourbon County. I mean, you can definitely tell that it's a higher ABV because of the complexity from the barrel aging, but it doesn't have that alcohol burn that you get with a lot of higher ABV beers. It does have the spice burn though, which I guess if you're not used to higher ABV beers, you might get the ginger, that spice burn confused with alcohol, but it's definitely not the alcohol. It's coming from that ginger in there. And perfect timing. We've got Mr. Bumpy Isms has joined us, and we've all gone through our initial tastings of our beer. So you're
Bumpy,
just
I saved the spot for you.
Yeah, tell us what you've got, and go ahead and get right into it. Join the party.
As you can see, it's got some gold wax, so you know that it's over 14%.
Unless it's a treehouse
what I
beer,
have-
you might not know because they don't put the ABV on the bottle. You just have to
Yeah,
guess.
you're right. But it's not. It's from New Hampshire. This is a limited release. The Mitts. This one is a double barrel aged imperial stout.
Who's the
coming at
Bumpy? Who's the brewer?
0.9, 603.
603.
And this one is
603.
aged for 2.5 years. So it's aged for 30 months. So I've shared some mitts with John before,
Yes.
but never a double barrel aged. They're out of Londonderry, New Hampshire, by the way. So it says the Mitts, the bourbon barrel aged imperial stout, finished in rum barrels. It's bourbon barrel aged and then rum barrel aged. They do have different prints on their wax tops. This one has the two little kitty prints. Some of them have a picture of mitts. Some of them have a big paw print. So it's kind of cool that you get different stamps. Ooh.
What was the ABV on that one, Bumpy?
15.9.
Woo!
It's
Man,
five
I've got
seven.
I've got the
John-
lowest.
John
I've got
has the
lowest
baby of the
ABV
beers.
beer.
Only 14.6.
Jeez, I'm slipping.
So who had the highest?
Ian.
That would be Ian.
And his is a
18.8.
Bumby. His is a 18.8 porter. Obviously an imperial
18.8
porter,
porter,
but it's a porter.
Jeez. Well, I got it open. I didn't break the top of the glass. Should be able to pour it without getting any wax in. Ooh, it pours very thin. That's a very thin stout. I'm gonna have
You
to pour
said
that
rum
hard.
barrel, rum and bourbon barrel aged. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so it's bourbon barrel aged, and then it's finished in rum barrels. The head on that is crap. If there is soap sudsy head, I mean that's it. I mean it even has rainbow colors in the light,
Rainbow colored head.
like actual like Dawn's dish detergent.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean you get a little bit of caramel kind of hues down in the bottom end of the glass here, but it's pretty dark. Red, you can get red through it. Very, very deep, dark cherry red. All right, so aromas. Ooh, lots of fudge. It's very fudgy. Get a little bit of the oak from the barrel aging. For 2.5 years of barrel aging, I would have expected a lot more. But I think you can still tell that it is barrel aged.
Do you think, Bumpy, that because it's a rum barrel and not a bourbon barrel, that could have an effect on what you get?
Well, I had both.
Or it's both. It has that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aged in bourbon barrels, finished in rum barrels, Michael. So it's like
Okay. All right. So it's a combo effect.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of this kind of brown sugar, molasses type smell too. But the first thing was fudge. So it's like fudge, oaky, barrel, and brown sugar and molasses. That's it. I mean, there's no like dark fruit notes or anything coming through in the nostrils. But cheers.
Cheers, Bumpy.
cheers.
Delicious. It's like rum chocolate. Like if Lindt chocolate's made like butter chocolate ball with oakiness too.
They need to get on that. If you're watching, Lent, that's the next chocolate variety you need to come out with. Oak, caramel, chocolate balls.
No, rum butter.
Rum butter, chocolate, bourbon
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah.
Bumpy, how's the alcohol? Is the alcohol sitting well, or you can taste it?
You can kind of taste it, but it's not super boozy. It's a little bit of burn in the throat. It's very warming in the chest. But it's kind of got that booziness. Like if you make it doesn't taste like eggnog. Don't get me wrong, but you know when you have like the rum or the whiskey eggnog, how you kind of get that slight bit of alcohol with that sweeter eggnog. That's kind of how it's hitting. It's like a very chocolatey stout with a blend of, I'd say, more rum. Probably because it's finished in the rum. I think that's picking it up a bit. But I think the oak notes are definitely coming from the bourbon barrel. Maybe some like a vanilla to make it more chocolatey.
How many different versions of the mitts do they come out with? Because I know we've had a couple. You've shared a couple of
I
different.
think they had. I think they have like 4 this year.
Oh, so every year it's just different every year.
Yeah,
That's
this
what
is
they
the
put
first
out.
time I've ever seen the double barrel aged one. Probably because it's been aging for 2.5 years, and I've only been
Right.
picking them up for 2 years. So it's
Okay.
yeah. I think they have a mint chocolate.
Hmm.
I think when I shared with you was vanilla bean. I think we had
Yeah.
Madagascar
that sounds
or
right.
triple vanilla bean one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's quite warming.
All right. Well, we'll let you keep sipping on it. We'll go back to.
Yeah, the body on it, it's a lighter body for sure. It's got a heavier carbonation. It's a thinner stout, but it's one of those ones that's I can kind of forgive it for the thinness because it is booming with some flavor notes. And I'm glad that it's not like super thick and cloying. So
Cheers, Brian.
but yeah,
Crash
I'll
in the
probably be
chat.
pretty messed up after this
Good to
bottle
you.
because it's not my first beer.
You'll probably what?
I said I'll probably be pretty messed up after this bottle.
Oh.
It's not my first beer,
Well, just-
so I've had a few today.
Yeah, enjoy it. Sip on it. You'll be all right.
But this is going to be that like nightcap. Whoa.
All right. Well, we'll just kind of open it back up, Ian, Michael. But as you keep sipping on the beers, any additional flavor notes, and as the beer warms and develops, what you're thinking, and at any time you can throw out some ratings. No rush, but just
Yeah, I did
kinda-
just take this out of the fridge because I didn't know if you were gonna when exactly you were gonna start this, and I was on the wild card.
the wild card.
It was running a bit.
Brian said, Thrash says, bumpy drinking on an empty stomach or a 14-inch pizza.
I haven't had
I don't
pizza
think you
today.
did. Not yet.
Yeah, I was
Might have to have
gonna
one
probably do
later
a pizza
tonight.
review tonight, but I don't think so. Probably have to wait till tomorrow.
All right.
I fortunately did have.
Well, Michael, how's the Evil Twin Jay Wakefield collab?
The most interesting thing, you
15.5%
commented on the head and the lacing. Look how well it's still holding up.
Wow.
Bumpy, this is a
I don't think
this is
15
a
and a half,
15,
yeah, right.
15.5% pastry stout collaboration between Evil Twin and Jay Wakefield of Florida somewhere called Miami's Finest. It's a pastry stout with vanilla, coconut, and coffee. It's
It
not
looks like
barrel.
looks like Lep from Lep TV a little bit.
Oh yeah, let me a little bit.
Just
But when I first poured it, I did a center pour because I wanted to get the maximum head. It went all the way down to here, and it's been fading. But a 15.5, even to hold a head like this, is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And look at the
I've never
lacing
seen
all
it.
the way up.
Yeah.
Look at the lacing on the top and the side. You're getting.
So that's very little lacing.
I guess when you get to 18%, it's almost impossible to keep the lacing that long. And plus
I've
it's
got
8 years
alcohol.
old. It's 8 years old too.
I've
plus.
got alcohol.
So-
Yeah, you probably can't see it on camera, but I've got alcohol legs going down my glass. But definitely no head with this Bourbon County.
Ian, are you getting any
Ian's got
other
more.
noses or
got more
taste
head.
as it's been getting warmer?
A little bit. Yeah, it's I mean the nose is a little bit stronger in the maybe in the nuttiness of it. But the alcohol is definitely there, but at the same time it's not necessarily boozy. Like I've definitely had I've had beers like stouts with half the ABV that taste more boozy.
Which
So-
shows it's well brewed then, that Avery's able
Very
to
well
keep the alcohol down when it gets that high. 'Cause that's double a 9% beer, so that's a
Yeah.
major difference for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
ready to take another sip here.
there's all legs in my glass for sure.
Guys, the best thing about this, and it's as it warms, it's maintained this. There's somehow, and the way it's brewed, they're able to have this balance of the flavors where it's almost like the flavors are all friends. And it's not like you can mix coconut, vanilla, and coffee together and expect good results every time. So somehow they've been able to balance it and also keep the alcohol seeming much lower than it is. But this is an extremely dangerous beer. Now, you're not giving this to somebody who drinks macros and have them taste it and say, oh, that's really good, because that's not the kind of drinker who's going to do this. But somebody who's drinking even Guinness, which can be 4.2 or can be 5.7, and was it 7.5 for the export? Somebody who's drinking Guinness, drinking this, would be impressed with it if they didn't mind a little bit of the sweetness that you get in a pastry stout. But for a pastry stout, this is nowhere near cloying. And on J scale, I would say this is 2 sugar cubes out of 5. So it's below the mid-range. It's
Do you
more
think that if it was super fresh, it would be sweeter? Do you think maybe some of the sweetness has faded, or because
there's a good chance. But whatever coffee was in this doesn't seem to have faded, because like I said before, the coffee seems to be balancing the vanilla and the coconut. It's not as strong in the vanilla and the coconut, though. I think the coffee is still the lead taste of the 3. Because I'm getting that really strong roast kind of thing as the lead taste. But the other tastes are more subtle, but they're there. If I didn't know this was a pastry stout, I would think it is just, high imperial stout. And I think, Bumpy, yours is actually listed as what's it called? This is the biggest one they've ever done, your Bumpy's Brewery. Last year or 2 years ago, the same kind of thing was a single barrel aged thing at 10.9.
Yeah.
So wow. It's a big one.
It is a big one.
Evil Twin, of course, did that one with the pizza, which was, I think, what was that, 17.9?
The big ass money stout. I think it was 17, 18%, somewhere in there.
But you could taste the alcohol in that one a little bit more, as I remember.
Right.
I still have a can. I don't have a can. I have the can itself. I don't have one that I could drink. I kept the can because I like the pizza on the side of the can. I thought it was interesting. I'm enjoying this a lot.
Had some,
and as you can see, I'm not drinking it fast. I'm going very slow, and I realize what it is, and I'd rather. And I still have iced coffee left, which I'm putting in between here. Yeah. I'm very pleased with this one, by the way.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. Yeah, the pastry stouts are always questionable for me. The barrel aging and the higher ABV I think helps, but yeah.
Well,
some
this
of the pastry stouts,
John, mine is not barrel aged. Mine's just a straight pastry stout.
Yours is straight. Why was I thinking yours was barrel aged? Okay,
no, it's just a straight one, and that maybe makes it even more impressive. I don't know, or less, depending on how you look at it.
It's always impressive when you can have a non-barrel aged stout that's up there. And Evil Twin is really good about that, like the big ass money stout, 18%. I've had an IPA from them that we did together. I can't remember the name of it, but it was 17.2% or something. A couple of their beers are really high alcohol, but they're not barrel aged, which is, it's like, how do you get that high of an ABV without barrel aging something? I don't know. That's impressive then. That's even more impressive that it's not barrel aged.
And I've had a stout from Jay Wakefield alone at one of these stout fests that I've gone to, and it was pretty amazing too. I'm not sure if that was barrel aged. That might have been. So does it tell you where they're from? I know they're from Florida somewhere. I could look up where they're from. I got my phone here.
Does Ian have a Top Gear or Fifth Gear shirt on?
I knew it was a good gear shifter. Yeah, change we can believe in.
Do we have any Gator fans? Or everybody there probably hates the Gators, but my nephew is a big Gator fan. So
I drank this earlier, It's got a gator on
The
it.
gator. There you go.
Yeah, there's another gator.
Is it crocodile?
I like the ugly sweater like label on that. That's nice.
Hmm.
I saw you got your review for that our Christmas beer, our holiday beer, whatever. That's didn't you post a review for that earlier on your channel?
Oh yeah, no, that was the Evil Twin one.
Oh,
It wasn't that
the one you just held up. I thought that was the same beer.
No, that was one I just did on Beer Man's show on the All Spun Out.
Oh, similar
So
label.
it's seasonal and bubbly, so it's a Christmas sour.
Jay Wakefield is out of Miami, Florida. So Miami Finest being the beer, I guess, is not a shocker. I still would like to know who that is.
Jeremy's not happy with the Gators. He doesn't approve.
It's okay.
Cheers to Joey in the chat. And Brian. All right, so I'll mention a few more things really quickly about my beer. As it's warming, it's getting a little bit sweeter. This is a tough one because I've had a lot of Bourbon County over the years and a lot of different variants, and this one is really enjoyable. I like the ginger in there, that spice burn that you get. Of course, I love the coconut. And the cacao nibs are kind of like, maybe they're there, maybe they're not. It's hard to tell if it's coming from the cacao nibs or it's coming from the roasted malt, because you get dark chocolate and you get chocolate notes with the Bourbon County just in general. The alcohol's well masked. It's got the base Bourbon County flavors too, the dark fruit notes, a little bit of that tobacco. But I feel like the ginger and the coconut, although they're amazing, and if they were in a regular non-barrel aged porter or stout, I would be raving about it. But I feel like it takes away from the beauty of the barrel aging of the Bourbon County. Like it kind of masks some of the flavors, especially the ginger. That spicy ginger note just kind of like covers up some of the Bourbon County complexity that you get with a lot of their beers. By no means is this a bad beer, a mediocre beer, a good beer. It's definitely an excellent beer, but I would much rather have the regular Bourbon County right now, or the vanilla rye, which I had a couple weeks ago. That one, a lot of the bourbon barrel and then the rye barrel aging and the vanilla on top of that. That was a really fantastic variant. I don't know. I'm conflicted because I love coconut, I love ginger, but it's kind of detracting from the bourbon barrel aging a little bit with this particular variant. I don't know. It's still an excellent beer, but it's
So of the three, John, that you've had from 2024, this is the worst.
This is going to be my least favorite. I think the straight Bourbon County was my favorite. The vanilla rye right behind it, that one was 14%, which is weird because you'd think like the rye barrel aging, like you think that it would elevate the alcohol because it's bourbon barrel aged and then they finish it in rye barrels and then add vanilla. And this one, with all the different additives in this, the cacao nibs, the ginger, and the coconut, this one's still 14.6. How does that work? How do you get higher ABV in this one? It's got more additives in the vanilla rye. But anyway, so this would be, of the three 2024 bottles that I've had, this is my least favorite so far. It's not a knock on the beer at all. It's an excellent, excellent beer, but I do feel like it takes away the additives in this one, especially the ginger, kind of detracts from the bourbon qualities that everybody's come to love in a Bourbon County. It kind of takes away a little bit of that flavor or masks that flavor a little bit. So I'll sip it on a little bit longer, but I think I'm getting close to, I think I know where I'm at with a rating on this one.
Mine's not warming up, so I got to do the.
You can do this, Bumpy, and put your hands around it.
I got to do this for
and
2
warm it
seconds
and
then
warm it
say
up
it's warm.
because your hands are good for warming it. It's right against the glass, and it always works.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah, Brian has never been a big Bourbon County person
Yeah,
ever.
no, I don't think he.
By the way, John,
all right.
the ones at
More
the
for
co-op,
me. More for me, Brian.
you do remember, John, that they were supposed to have Bourbon County at my food co-op. It's sold out.
Oh.
So I said,
Did
why'd
they
you
get-
buy? I said, why'd you buy so little? And
Right.
she just, and again, she's the buyer, so she makes her own.
Was it
decisions,
just
I
the
guess.
original, or did she get some of the variants? Or
We just had the original.
just the
She
original?
didn't buy any of the variants. Some in other years she's had variants. This year she didn't. And I don't know if that's all the distributor could get to her, because again, we're not huge beer buyers, or that's what she chose to buy. Because I told you I came in on a Tuesday morning. We're going to put them out in the afternoon, and I didn't come back for a whole week. So there are enough people in the co-op who know what it is to buy it up. They also do not have it at Whole Foods, where I was checking, because I was checking. Now, I know Wegmans does have it, but the Wegmans that's here is all the way on the other side of Brooklyn. So I'm not sure, whatever. I'd still like to get some. I know I'm going to get to try it because one of the people from my beer group is in Chicago, and she comes back. She takes an extra suitcase with her.
Get some of the variants that you can only get.
And she
from
may be
Chicago.
able to get the proprietors. And there's another one. There were 2 this year that were not nationally distributed. So she might be able to get those. See, Brian's getting off on just watching me, which I always like.
And then
My ears are warming. They're turning
yeah,
red.
they are.
And he has faith in me that I could hold it together after drinking all the beer. So, Brian, thanks for the heads up. I like it.
All right. Well, I'm just going to
So
throw
are
mine
we going to put down our ratings? I'm still
We'll do it.
formulating
I'm going to
mine,
throw
but
mine
I'll
out while
have
it's
it.
fresh. I'm going 96.
Okay.
And it's just fresh on my mind. I'm going to get mine out of the way. 96 out of 100. It's excellent. It's, outstanding beer, but yeah, it's not world class. I mean, 98 plus for me is world class. It falls short of being world class because I feel like the additives, although they're enjoyable, they get in the way. They mask some of the bourbon barrel aging qualities, and you're paying twice as much for this as you are for the regular Bourbon County. Instead of $12.99, you're paying $25.99, $26.99. So definitely more bang for your buck with the original Bourbon County. If you want the barrel aged experience, you go with the original.
Is this your lowest Bourbon County rating ever?
I don't know if it's possibly. Yeah, I've given.
It's in that group because I can only remember mostly 98s and 99s and 100.
Right.
There is 100 on record.
Yeah, I gotta go 96. The Vanilla Rye, I think I gave that one a 98, lower end of world class. If you're gonna buy a variant, buy one that kind of accentuates the bourbon flavors, not mask the bourbon flavors. I think if just the gin or just the coconut was in here, it would probably be better. I just feel like the ginger is too strong of a flavor and too spicy. It just covers up the bourbon barrel flavors and aromas. So it's still a wonderful beer.
John,
and
if you remember when Doug and I did that orange variation,
the midnight orange. I never got
remember
to try
the
that
orange
one.
variation we did?
Yeah.
The midnight orange, which I said tasted more like cherry. We just because they wanted it to taste like orange, I took 3 extra points off and gave it a 95. Now, if they had not had, see, maybe in some ways I am like our now departed beer reviewer, Greg from Virginia, has since left us. Right, Greg? Do I have the name
Greg's
right?
beer reviews. Yeah, he passed away. We've lost a few.
Greg's beer reviews. I used to take him on. We used to have little going battles online. I mean, I never spoke to him in person, where he would take a whole point off if the date was wrong. In other words, he would say, if you don't have the date on the can or bottle, I take off a whole grade. I don't care if it tastes
Right,
just
not
as
yeah, a
good.
whole
I
letter,
take off
a whole
point.
letter grade. Yeah,
A whole letter grade. Now I only took off 3 points in the 100 scale. I would have, I would have given if they had called it cherry
You mean the 99 scale?
instead of, I would have given it a 98. But because they called it orange, I punished them because it had no orange in it at all. And Doug agreed with me. And Doug said he overpaid. Doug bought the variant, and he said if I had known, I would have bought 2 of the regular stouts instead.
yeah.
So he was very unhappy with it. But that's life in the Bourbon County game, and I'm still looking. And if I see some, I will buy them.
Right.
Even Jeremy agrees with me.
Bumpy,
Bumpy, you're a tough grader too, though, but you're tough for a different reason. You're actually doing it on the basis of your scale, which is fine. Greg wasn't doing it on the scale. He was doing it on his own personal preference. I want the date, and it doesn't matter. But it's okay. Let him rest in peace. And he did a good job. I didn't like his refrigerator beginning either, if I have to pick on his beer skills. You remember his refrigerator opening? Let's go to the fridge. And he looked through it and tried to impress you. He tried to impress you with all the beers that people had sent him. He didn't buy any beer, ever. It was all stuff that he got from other people. He thanked them when he did it. So you knew who he gave credit to, his brother and other people. But again, if you can do that and be successful with a viewing channel, all the power to him. And hopefully he's somewhere in heaven looking down on me right now, giving him a hard time and saying, Stout King, you always gave me a hard time about the grading system, and I'm dead now, and you're still not letting go. But that's
and
life.
you don't have to worry about dates. You don't have to worry about dates on your labels in heaven. It's all fresh, except for the heavenly beer cellar. They have,
well, maybe he has a beer cellar up there where he is, and he keeps it going.
Right.
I have one guy that leaves beers in my fridge every now and then. I don't give him any credit though.
Yeah,
I just drink those things.
I don't intend to leave them there. You get me drunk and I pass out and I got to get up super early the next day to go to work and I don't have time to grab them. So it's just it's not.
But John, I know how generous you are, John. How generous John is, because when John came down to Brooklyn with Caitlin, he brought a whole bunch of stuff and it was incredible. And I have to say, Treehouse is the bomb. I mean, it really is the bomb. It's some of the most amazing beer I've ever had. It's on the same level as Trillium and Other Half, and it's wonderful. I mean, really top edge stuff. Really, some of the best beer I've ever had.
I knew you would appreciate. I'm glad you enjoy it as much as I do.
Which one?
Fidens. Have you had anything?
I have not. Where is Fidens out of?
They're like near Albany, New York.
I've never had it. I wonder if I can get it. I'll have to start looking.
Fidens
is pretty damn good.
And do they make what's it called? IPAs, hazy IPAs?
They're
mostly.
They're very similar to Other Half. They a lot of the same type of beers that Other Half brews, but mostly
I'll have to try. I have a close beer friend who does the different Stout Fest with me, and I'll ask him. Maybe he has some access to getting some of that stuff.
You could probably get it there, Michael, if you look, just because you're in New York and Albany's not too far.
Only 3 hours. It's only 3 hours away by car, which is
right. So if we can get their beer up here in Massachusetts and
we definitely can get it down here.
Probably get it. So speaking of, all right, well, Ian, we got to go back to you. So I gave a 96 to my beer to kick things off. I'm curious.
I want to see what beer Ian actually has.
So Ian, show him the bottle. Show him the Avery bottle. Because he wasn't on when you originally started.
I'll pull up the for anybody joining late.
This pumpkin is one too, huh?
It's an Imperial Pumpkin Porter of all things. I'm still shocked that it's a porter, not a stout.
Aged in Kentucky bourbon barrels. That's hence the KY bracket there. 2016. My God.
As it warms up, the alcohol is getting a little stronger. So.
It's getting stronger, is that what you said? The alcohol?
It's getting a little bit boozier as it warms up.
Oh, there you go. He's good. I think it was just a...
But yeah, it's I would say I'm gonna give this I'm gonna say a 98. It's very good. Definitely one of the best one of the better ones I've had, and it like I said, all the flavors are there, but balanced, and nothing is overpowering. It's getting a little boozy at toward the finish, but at the same time, it is 18.8%. So,
Right.
so it's definitely not. I mean, it's never going to be, a light one. So yeah, I would say if you happen to stumble across an Avery limited release, definitely pick it up.
If
I
you
haven't
happen
seen-
to stumble across an Avery 2016 bottle of that beer, slap yourself because you're dreaming.
This is from 2016, so it's been sitting in my basement for 8 years.
Ian is very good about sitting on stuff. If you went down to visit his basement, I think you'd be shocked what you'd find. I mean, he's got a lot of different stuff. I mean, I've seen pictures. I haven't been in his basement before, but I've seen pictures. And I'm impressed, Ian.
I've saved beers for a couple of months. I've bought beers like Bourbon County. I can get Bourbon County beers just as an example. I can get other beers too, but I can get Bourbon County beers from 2 or 3 years ago. They're still sitting on the shelves. I got a beer in the fridge right now, the Santa Claus Malt Liquor 14% from last year, 2023 bottling. So I can go out and buy beers that have been sitting on the shelves. As far as buying beer and just holding on to it for years and years, I don't have a dedicated beer cellar. So every time I open my refrigerator or look on the shelf, I have limited space. So it would just be teasing me every time I come out to the shed or go into the garage or whatever. I would it'd be eyeballing me. And I don't think I could do it unless I had a place just out of sight, out of mind,
That's kind of what I have. I have a large wire shelving unit in my basement, and so it allows me to essentially,
If I had a basement and a place to put beer away and not really, you just kind of forget about it, revisit it every couple of years, I'd probably be able to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I forget about it. Just I tend to buy more than I can drink. So that's really what it is. I mean, I don't have beer I usually don't have beer every night. So
we've got a friend. He doesn't.
I like
really
wine too. So, I'll be on a wine kick where I'll drink wine for a month.
Yeah, I got a buddy of mine, Shane Fudge. He used to join some of the live streams, but he doesn't really join much anymore. But we still keep in touch, and he's got quite a beer cellar as well. He still has some Bourbon County bottles from way back, 2012, ridiculous. Before they even went to the, when they still sold the 12-ounce 6-pack bottles, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, crack a couple of those, they may not even be good anymore. They're getting to that point where they're so old, just get into them. Oh, cheers to Chip Riley just joined. He said just bought 6 bottles of CBS from 2018. See, that's good. I wouldn't sit on that too long though, Chip. 2018, you're looking at 6-7 years almost.
He's getting on the edge of it.
He's getting on there.
I would drink some of that.
No,
I would never.
The last CBS I had said that it would age for up to 3 years, and I waited until the very first day of that third year, and it went way downhill from when they were fresh.
Really? The Founders beer, was it the CBS or the KBS?
Yeah, the CBS, the
CBS.
Canadian breakfast stuff. Yeah,
that may be the combination of the fact that it has the maple syrup in it too. So you have all that.
Yeah, the maple
combining.
pretty much was totally gone.
I have a KBS. I don't have a CBS. I have a KBS.
I had a 2015
bunch of KBS.
A couple years ago when I met up with Shane Fudge in Tennessee. He brought a big cooler and a couple of Bourbon County, a couple of Old Founder stuff. I had a 2015 CBS or KBS, just the original, and it was so good because all the coffee had completely faded. You're looking at 4 or 5 years at the time that I drank it, and it was more like a Bourbon County because the coffee had faded completely, being 4 or 5 years old, and all you tasted was the bourbon barrel. It was fantastic.
Mm.
All right,
Bumpy,
so 98.
I will give my rating if I still have quite a bit left, I guess. But it's, as you say, it's the head is still regenerating.
Just the glass, the glass lacing on there is insane.
I
For
know. This is a really good beer. All right, I'm going to give this the same thing that Ian gave, a 98. I mean, I think it really deserves it.
Okay.
And I guess the only reason I'm not going to my top on this, which would be 99, I don't give hundreds, but the reason I'm not going 99 is it could always, you can always pick on a beer for something. Right now, as it's been sitting, the finish has, I'll describe it. That's the fairest way to do it. If there's any negative about it, the fact that it's not a sweet pastry stout, you're getting kind of a weird bitterness on the finish. Now, I didn't have it before when it was colder, but now and again, it's costed a point. I might have gone for the whole thing and said it's, one of my favorite beers of all time. I've given Bourbon Counties 99s before, but never a variant.
I was there for one of those 99s.
No variant.
We had a 9900 when I came to visit you. You shared the one of the special
the special double reserve one.
Double barrel reserve.
I gave
that one 100. I think.
You gave that one 100. But see, you do go to 100. You have some. You don't do it often, but you do.
Not very often, but every now. I mean, I couldn't. Yeah, it was like,
okay. Maybe Bumpy has some input on this too, so I'm going to mention it again. Bumpy, I have 2016 Brooklyn Black Ops, which is, I think it's only 11%, but it's on champagne yeast and it's barrel aged and whatever. And they've since now they have it in cans with Four Roses, and it's lousy. The beer they have now that you can buy in cans, they use Four Roses whiskey on it, and it's not good. I mean, I've had it several times, and I'm
Did
saying
you have
it's not
this
good.
Year's?
I have not.
Did
Is this
you have
year's better? So this
year's
is
was
okay.
better because
It's in a
the
can.
one. Well, I only had
bottle.
one can of it though, so there's no. Because the problem with like last year's was a lot of them were infected. Like, so even I had an infected one, and it was
okay. So maybe that's why I didn't like it. Maybe I had an infected one. I had 2023.
This year's the can I had was not infected. Still not like one of the best like barrel aged stouts out there. Very thin bodied, and it didn't have like a lot going. Like the flavor profile was just kind of like, oh, you get like 2 notes out of it, but it at least was. Yeah, I did do a review on it. I can't remember what I said. I think I put it in the top end very good or something like that.
I mean, I have two of these 2016 bottles, and it almost makes sense at one of these big group things where I have my whole crowd with me. It's a 24.5 ounce, 25.4 ounce. I switched the numbers. 25.4 ounce bottle with the the turn top and the whole bit. And you hope when you pop the top, you get some carbonation, because that would be the biggest thing I'd be afraid of in older beers, that you might lose your carbonation in them. I don't know. Like yours, you had the thing on yours, the wax, which I guess keeps the carbonation in, but yours is a relatively new beer. So they didn't know they may think you would sit on that for a while. So that's why they wax it. John, some of the beers you left me from Treehouse are wax.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is this is my first time buying it, because I've had some mitts I didn't really care for. So and ever since my whole Equilibrium experience that I had, where I kept buying 4-packs, it was like they were oxidized. I learned like, until I know that a beer is good, I should probably just do like the single can, or if it's just going to be a drinking beer and I'm like, it's from a brewery that I'm, never really have issues with. But I don't really buy 4-packs of anything anymore, let alone multiple bottles of anything. But I do like this one, and if there's more on the shelf, I probably will pick a couple more bottles of it. Because I think that this guy above me would probably really love this beer. But like, like typical, I would score it probably a lot lower than he would.
That's all right.
So my score for this beer would be, if we're doing the 100 scale, just to make it easy because everybody else is doing that. I'd land it in the excellent range of my scoring. It'd be like lower end excellent, but it'd be like a 93 out of 100.
Okay. All
So
right.
John would probably score it like a 98. So you know what I mean.
Right.
John, you do go down as an easy grader if you're doing the whole thing. There's no question
Well,
that you're
not-
a little bit easier than most.
The
I'm not
thing-
saying you're unfair. You're just
The
like,
thing that, so here's the thing. People that, excuse me, have watched my channel over the years, I used to give a lot lower ratings because I would drink everything. I've kind of been doing this long enough. I only buy beers that I want to drink that I think I'll really like. So I do grade beers a little bit higher, but it's not because I just grade everything high. It's because I only drink because I'm becoming, I'm bougie. I don't know. I only buy beers that I really like, that I really want to drink. Every now and then I'll get a stinker, but I'm not going to go out and intentionally buy a beer just to try it if I know that I probably won't like it. Whereas like Jay Terrio, God bless him, he's a great, he does everything, and he has a lot of lower scores because he'll review like a Wild Irish Rose or a Four Loko or something, and I will not do that anymore. When I first started my reviews, I would do it, but you couldn't pay me to drink something like that now. So I only buy beers that I think that I'm gonna love. So that's why I have typically higher ratings. And a lot of it now is Treehouse. I might as well change my channel to Treehouse Beer Reviews because I go to Treehouse once every 2 weeks and buy a lot of beer from them. And most of the stuff I put out now
you
is
probably do make a cartoon, almost like do like South Park or something. You can call it Nate and John because Nate's like the owner of Treehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
You
love.
probably show John walking up to Treehouse and Nate bringing out like a whole pack of beer to him. Like, oh, my favorite person, John.
He should. Yeah, he should give me some. I promote his beers a lot. Michael, what'd you give your beer?
If purchasing beer in breweries was like purchasing like stock, then John would own half the company.
say that again since I didn't hear John. What you were saying.
Sorry, what was the rating you gave your beer? I was going to put the
98.
It was
Like,
a 98.
same
Okay.
as Ian's. I was going to make another comment, John, which is very positive to you. I was or to me also, maybe on my selections, whatever. I was very impressed with how you rated the beers that I gave you. In other words, I thought you were very fair and in your scoring, and I don't think you overrated them because my scores were similar. They were some of the stuff you rated of the ones you did that I gave you. It was kind of more off stuff that wasn't your standard run-of-the-mill thing that everybody's tried. I think one was a peppercorn something from China.
Oh, I love that.
Or
Yeah,
something which you really liked. I really like that too. I don't think everybody would like that, but you can have a taste, whatever.
Yeah,
some of the other things.
Floral, yeah, that was such a great beer. I wish I could find that here. I would buy.
I only got one of those, and there was a Mexican one too that had a specialty thing that you really liked also, and I really liked. But Bumpy, this is kind of stuff which is almost like niche stuff. Every beer drinker, craft beer, would not like these things. I'm just saying. Some might, and some others might not like it as much. I find that some of that stuff on the edge can be some of my favorite things. I love imperial stouts and I love regular stouts as well. But IPAs also, I really do like a lot.
Yeah, I'm not.
I try to do the full gamut in beers I taste and whatever. But this was an excellent beer tasting, by the way.
Yeah, and Ian made a new friend. I'm going through the chat now. Ian and Brian Thrashman, they're talking music in the chat there.
Brian is good people, by the way. Brian is really good people.
He's a great
I've known
guy,
him from all the ones we've done. He's been on the different tastings through the years.
And he's a home brewer too. He brews some really good beer. I don't know if
He's in Colorado.
Yeah, he is. I think he's near Denver. He's in the Denver area. And I thought I saw Elbo's in the chat now. Well, Elbow, it's a lot easier to do all this stuff now that I have a new. I'm not using my iPad anymore. I'm actually using my desktop computer, so it makes life a lot easier doing these live shows.
Oh,
But
well,
yeah,
you
cheers.
just put limited release. You should have put that as double barrel aged.
Oh well,
Yeah, his is double barrel aged.
double barrel age. I should have put that in there, but I'm not going to go back and change it now. So just there you go. It's
We know
already
it's double barrel aged.
It's done deal. Oh wow. We've got John Smith, 2001 in the chat. He drinks Milwaukee's best Keystone Light. He's 24. All right, hey, good. Not bad beers. Different, completely different than the stuff we're drinking tonight. But there you go.
Now, John, in all honesty, when I was 24, I was drinking beer like that.
I was drinking malt liquor when I was 24. I was drinking Colt 45, Old English 800.
I drank that kind of stuff too.
Coors Banquet with PBR. I did like PBR was like
Ian of all of us probably was not in the same phase at the same age, but it's all different for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really start. Like Mike knows my past, so I kind of grew up with beer at a very, very young age. But at the same time, I really didn't get into beer until I discovered Guinness, and that was in my mid-20s. And that was like I spent my 21st birthday with my recovering alcoholic father and didn't drink at all. So it was like to give you an idea of my background. But it really wasn't until I discovered Guinness in my mid-20s that I was like, oh, there's more than just Budweiser. Cool.
right.
And then it went from there, really. And stouts became my thing for, almost from then on. Like I don't drink a lot of else other than anything, something. It has to have decent flavor. So,
Yeah.
But mostly for me, it's stouts.
And when Ian, you've had IPAs, you tend the older ones more than maybe these newer New England style.
Yeah,
The
I'm
older
not a big fan of IPAs.
Thought that they were cat urine in their kind of presentation, kind of thing. Which I'm not. I've heard that from other people too.
Is that an
Get that
official,
same effect.
Yeah, honestly, the only IPAs I've found so far that I like are the ones that were intended to mimic exactly what IPAs were originally intended to be, which were a high hopped beer put into oak barrels, and then the high hops were designed to be able to withstand the travel from Britain all the way around the Horn of Africa to India, hence the India Pale Ale point. So the best one I've found that I like, that it's impossible to get, is the Innocent Gun Toasted Oak IPA, which and it's a freshly oak. It's an oak barrel, but it's barrel aged, but in a fresh
barrel, not in a bourbon.
Not in a bourbon barrel, just an oak barrel that they bake, and then it's aged for about 6 months, i.e., the amount of time it takes to get from England to India. And if you can find it, it's like, to me, it's like the best IPA, because it's like
I have never seen it.
Yeah,
I have never seen it, and our food club has some of the regular Innocent Gun stuff, but all the stuff that's known, not that one.
Yeah,
it's interesting
too.
too.
It's a hard one to find.
The original IPAs, right? They came from India. It takes months on a ship to get here.
Well,
and
they
hop.
Well, they're from Britain, meant to be able to make it to India.
Right.
See,
that's right.
So they were brewed to be able to go. They were brewed.
But I guess my point is the original IPAs, right? They had to travel. Yeah. So by the time they got to their destination, it's almost, the hops had faded, right? It didn't. The beer had been prevented, from spoiling because of all the hops and the way that they transported it and everything. But the people that got the beer, they're not drinking a fresh IPA like what we think of as IPAs now.
That's
By
true.
the time they get it and drink it, it probably just tastes like a regular beer because the hops, for the most part, have faded.
Yeah.
But-
Definitely. Definitely, because like the Innocent Gun Toasted Oak IPA, that's like I said, it's aged in the oak barrels. It doesn't have that heavy, hoppy flavor that a lot of. It's there. It has that hoppiness to it, but it's not super strong like a lot of the American IPAs are.
Right.
So, John, when they were shipping the porters and the other beers they had without upping the hop level, by the time it got to India, it was bad. It was skunky.
Right.
And that was the reason that they converted, because otherwise they had no other way to do it. And the IPA at least tasted like beer, where, you'd rather have good beer. Why waste, the people complained that, it was being ruined. And whatever. But the Americans have the theory that we can be the biggest in everything. So they up the hop level. I'm talking about the standard IPAs. I'm not talking about New England style now. It's completely different. It's done.
Your
different.
Traditional West Coast.
Your West
palate
Coast,
record.
the heavy duty 100 IBU stuff and whatever. And again, I still will occasionally drink it. I still drink resin, which is 9.1, 6.1.
That's a good one. Yeah.
But that's a very well brewed beer. And again, I really like resin. But Ian, you wouldn't like it. It's intensely hoppy. And I don't think it would.
You just bought that variety pack.
I told you, I just bought this 15 different 6-point beers. And the first one I had last night, and I think I've had it before. I wasn't over impressed with it, called Stupor, which is a 6.4.
I've never heard. That's an IPA?
It's a hazy IPA at 6.4. And I would say, to be fair to it, it looks like it's just like a filler beer in their series. And they just finished the 5 different beers with it.
They made a really good hazy IPA or New England style IPA. When I was in Georgia, I used to buy it a lot. I don't know if they still make it. Maybe you can tell me. I think it was called Mind Haze. It was like an 8.9 or.
I don't think if they still make it, it never comes in the variety pack. Okay. The one that's similar now is one called the Piff, which is an 8% double. And it's I enjoy it. It's still good. The problem, I think, and this is just based on
Mind Haze was the ones that did the Union Jack.
No, maybe it was Firestone Walker.
No, I'm talking about 6-point though. Or maybe it was called I thought it was called Mind Haze, but Let's
see if I can find some. I'll look at 6-point and see what
I reviewed it on my channel years ago. I used to get it in Georgia. But it was really good.
But the other ones that were there were ones you've had, John, the Bengali, which used to be Bengali Tiger until they were sued by somebody in Thailand that made a beer that had Tiger in the name. So they said, okay, you're going to sue us. We'll just make it Bengali instead. We don't.
Unfortunately, though, 6-point, they still make their staples are still really good, and they haven't really wavered in the quality over the years. But they don't. The Master Blend series, they got to bring. That was.
It's like, John. Incredible. You know what the problem is? Since they were overtaken by this group, which, and you've heard me mention this many times, we've discussed it, Victory and Southern Tier and 6-point are all now under this umbrella. And since they are, the stock investors that are involved basically just want to make as maximum profit. So once the experimental stage that was done here in Brooklyn was done away with, now all the beer is brewed in Victory's place in Downingtown and somewhere else in Pennsylvania, and it's all mass produced. I'm not saying it's still a craft beer, I guess.
Brennansville and Downingtown, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, those are the two breweries, and Brooklyn is still on the can, but to my knowledge, that's just their central location, and they're not brewing anything there anymore. But that's where all that other stuff was brewed. That's where the Master Blend was brewed. I'm happy you got to try some of it, because I know I sent you a couple of cans of the Master
Blend. Me some.
And Bumpy had some Master Blend too.
Yeah,
Bumpy had some too.
It's nice having beer friends from across the all over the country, because before I even moved up here, Bumpy and you were sending me beers. You sent me one that I still can't get, or I haven't seen it. It was one of my favorite non-barrel aged stouts of all time. It was the Lion Stout. It's like a 9%. I think it was called.
Yeah, from Sri Lanka. from Sri Lanka. We don't get that at the Co-op anymore either. So I don't know.
Oh, I
Maybe
think it was
it's not still being made, or maybe it's
9.9 or
harder to
something. It was
find.
a really high alcohol.
Ian, have you seen Lion Stout?
Stout.
Ian may have seen it.
Fantastic.
Nope.
No.
It was
No.
probably the most easygoing beer that I've ever seen. It tasted like a session beer.
It did. It drank
just really
like a
packed
Guinness.
it.
It drank like a Guinness stout. Like it was super light.
Wow.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up. I just realized we're going on an hour and 20 minutes. We could keep hanging out off air a little bit. We'll wrap up the live stream though. We've all given our ratings, which are down on the bottom. The highest rated beers go, well, it was a tie between the Avery and the one that Michael had, the
Miami's Finest.
Miami's Finest, the collab beer. So yeah, mine was actually Bumpy's is a low, 93, 96, and 298. So I'd say that's a pretty successful examination, all in the A range. So, all right, we'll wrap it up. Thanks to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you. A lot of great people in the chat tonight, just kind of, commenting and talking back and forth with each other. Thanks to Bumpy for joining with his mitts. And, of course, Ian Furcaron and Michael Kormaroff. There you go, Jeremy. I think I said them right this time. Jeremy was like, see if you can pronounce their names right after you drink your 14.6% beer. Well, I pronounced it better at the end after drinking a high ABV beer than I did when I was sober at the beginning of the examination. So,
and Ian has heard Ferguson before. You weren't the first person to say that.
A few times.
Furcaron. Yeah, I got it though. Anyway, all right. So that'll do it for this live examination. We'll be back in 2025 with something interesting, I'm sure. But this will probably be it before, as far as live examinations on my channel before Christmas. Hope everybody has a great holiday, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever it is that you celebrate. If you celebrate at all, enjoy your family, your friends, and we'll see you in 2025. Until next time, everybody. Cheers.
Season's greetings, everybody. Still got a little bit left.
Yeah. I finished mine.
I got a lot left. And
Oh gosh, got a lot. Cheers.
Take care, all.
Bumpy started later.